Sunlight, Test cricket and a healthy tussle between bat and ball. Day 3 of the first Test between England and the West Indies had all that the sport could ask for, as it had Brathwaite leading a solid West Indies top order, England's fight back with the ball, and Shane Dowrich wresting the control of the game. Calm, calculated and composed. How often do you associate these adjectives with batsmen, even in the longest format? And when this comes from the pioneers of percentage cricket, the West Indies batsmen, you got to stand up and applaud. And that is what West Indies' batsmen from overnight, Kraigg Brathwaite and Shai Hope, did. Albeit the sun was out, the ball was still swinging around and batting was not easy. But these two fended off a crucial first hour, fending off the threats from James Anderson, en route to which Kraigg Brathwaite scored his first Test half-century in 22 innings. But the wicket that England were looking for all morning came from an unlikely source. The off-spinner Dom Bess, who invited Shai Hope to play a booming drive by flighting the ball outside his off-stump. He was caught in the slips. But Kraigg Brathwaite at the other end seemed solid as ever, hitting Ben Stokes for 3 consecutive boundaries, only for Captain Stokes to come back and slant one in, thud Kraigg Brathwaite on the pads. The on-field call was out. The impact seemed outside the off-stump and height also seemed to be an issue. DRS returned umpire's call on both those counts. And yet again a decision in this Test that was 50-50 went against the West Indies. On the other side of lunch, England were disciplined. Anderson and Bess bowled in tandem and ensured that there were no easy runs scored. In fact, drying up runs to such an extent that yielded 2 more wickets. Then out came Roston Chase, who built a wall around himself, going without scoring runs for long periods of time without looking perturbed at all. At the other end though, complementing him perfectly was Shane Dowrich, who took every opportunity to score and aced it. By the time the tea approached, there was a new ball looming and West Indies seemed like having a healthy first innings lead. On the other side of tea, the English bowlers were loose, giving ample scoring opportunities to both Chase and Dowrich. And while Chase missed out on his 8th Test half-century, Dowrich notched up his 9th Test half-century. And by the time he was done, he had put the West Indies in a position of strength with their lead in excess of 100. The West Indies innings ended with Dowrich being the highest run scorer for them, while for England, Ben Stokes, like his counterpart in the West Indies side, was the leading wicket taker with 4 wickets. In the second spot was James Anderson with 3. Over 100 runs behind, England came out to play a precarious last few overs, but they did that without copying a lot of damage. At the end of day 3, with a sizable lead in the kitty for the West Indies, the English shoulders seemed drooping lower and lower. Post a fruitful day 2, West Indies captain Jason Holder said that he would like to contribute with the bat too. While he failed at doing that, he would have no complaints with his batsmen who did more than their share of the job. Can the West Indies push for something really special on day 4? We'll all have to wait for time to give us those answers.